Hello there and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. So this time I have something a little bit different. I'm going to show you the way I airbrush. Now, it looks a little bit weird, it looks a little bit wonky, but I mean, I tried to get my garage enclosed so I could make a studio, but the only contractor that responded to me wanted way too much money, so I've had to kind of compensate how I can, and this is how I do it. So this time I'm going to be painting up a Mindstealer Sphiranx from Warcry and Age of Sigmar. Really cool model. I love it. Let's show you how I paint the majestic, multicolored psychic murder kitty. Here we go. So as promised, here's my airbrush setup. I'm literally using a box and a trash bag. But, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. So the first thing I'm doing here is what everybody calls, this is kind of where Slapchop started, right? This is called Zenethal priming. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting it from an angle and I'm putting the white and the lightest whites on the very top of the model. I'm doing the same with the face, and the face I'm kind of making a little brighter than the rest because I want the face to kind of to pull you in. So I'm going to multi-tone this to where the face gets brighter and then all the way down to the tail is darker. So once I do that, I put a little bit of Pro Acryl magenta into my airbrush with some thinner. It's about 3 drops of thinner to 3 drops of liquid to paint. And I'm using that magenta, and then I move on to a light purple, and I'm using the purple to kind of blend into the magenta. And I use that purple on the lower half, the belly and whatnot. And the belly is where you can see most of the purple at. Once that's done, I take dark jade. And this is, like I said, this is all Pro Acryl. The only paint that I used that is not Pro Acryl was Skeleton Horde contrast paint. But I take that dark jade and I put it on the top. And then I take regular jade, which is also Pro Acryl. And I use that to bring that highlight up on the very tops of the raised areas with that brighter jade green. So that's how I do that airbrush, and I stage it out. And like I said, I'm using just the regular jade on the face. This is about the time where I say the thing again. There's a like and subscribe button down there. If you could hit that, that would be awesome because it really helps. And the other the other upraised areas. Now as you can see here, this is me. I took some this is a bright yellow green paint, and I mixed that into the jade, and I used that to paint some of the hairs on the body to make them a little more green and glowy. Now I'm using that same mix here with a dry brush to do just the top areas of the mane, because I want the head and the mane to be the brightest green, whereas the rest of it I want it to kind of shade down to the kind of bluish greens and the purples. And we're going to bring all this together with a wash at the end. Now to do the claws, I used light umber as my initial color, and then I went back on all of those and I used ivory. Now here I'm using mahogany on all of the straps, and I will have to go back and fix a couple of areas with jade, like I did slip the brush a little bit. So this was mahogany for all the leather straps, and there's some on the legs and some on the back. And then I used bronze with a highlight of light bronze on the armor plates that are on his legs. Now I used light umber on all of the horns here, and this is slowed down so you can see what I'm doing. I intentionally left that light umber visible in the ridges, and I'll show you why as we pull this all together. So I'm using ivory to do the tops, and as you can see, this is what it looks like after the bronze and the ivory and the jade and everything. And I intentionally left that tuft on the top of his head unpainted for now. So this is the light bronze that I'm using, and this light bronze is just going to be used to do the edge highlighting on top of that bronze, and that it really does just lighten it up just a little bit, and it looks a lot better than if you were to do that with just silver. It still keeps that bronze shine to it. Now I'm highlighting with light umber, and as you can see, for the gemstones I used red. and I used a dark red followed by the bright pyrrole red. And then as you can see here with Skeleton Horde, I'm using Skeleton Horde to do the horns. I also used it for the teeth and the claws. And what this does is this contrast will unify that dark umber, or I'm sorry, the light umber and the ivory that I used on the horns. Once it dries, it looks really good. Trust me on this one. Okay, you'll see the final product here in a minute. Now this, I'm using the Athonian Camo Shade green color, and I'm using that green color because it more closely matches all of the jade colors that I used on all the fur and the hair and on the back. And what that does is that pardon the camera angle here, it's kind of hard to maneuver this thing, but this is only on the fur. Now I took a dark neutral gray, and I'm sort of pseudo dry brushing that over top of the stone. I want those grooves to still show up kind of colorful, and that's pretty much how it looks. The only other thing you have to do is you do a black wash on the metallics. You do you know, a brown wash on the stone. But before I do that, we're going to do obviously texture paste. Anyway, this is what it looks like at the end. I'm very happy with it. Once you put that, I used a Pro Aqua wash, the brown wash. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video, everyone.